Morgan, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, sunshine. How are you?
I'm great. Everybody, thanks for joining us for the premiere of this episode of Getting to After. I'm Chatone Morrison, the princess of positivity. And there, right there, her sitting there with the bun, that's my co host.
I'm Morgan Bustos.
Thank you for telling him your name. I thought you were going to forget.
I almost did.
All right. So, first of all, I have to say something like, I, I mean, are you wearing a bathing suit? Like, is it really that warm? Then, like, what's going on?
I was feeling very summery today.
Obviously,
We're
we're
vibing.
matching. I don't know what's going on.
How do we
I
do
don't
this
know. I don't know. It's really, really strange. It's
on a
it's a
regular?
strange one. I don't know what's going on. But I'm gonna tell you something. I know for a fact because I have shopped with you
Uh-huh.
that you very well might have picked that up at the thrift store because you've got those gifts. You've got those thrifting gifts. And that's what we're gonna be talking about today. No, we're not gonna teach you how to thrift, although that'd probably be a good episode. That'd be kind of fun. We're not gonna teach you that. If we were gonna teach that, she'd be the one. She'd be the one to watch. She's taught me a lot of things. But Morgan, say we're going to talk about is it time to empty your cart? And I think this is a great conversation because so many of us, we virtually shopping. I know I am.
Mm-hmm.
Mark is constantly like, there's another box outside. I'm planning a wedding. Of course, there's boxes coming in. But when it comes to, just taking care of ourselves, a lot of times going to places where you can get really cool things that are pre-owned, not used, not old, pre-owned, okay, like a car, is some of the best way and most cost-effective ways, and also to save the earth and recycle. But now, Morgan, I know that sometimes you've had a rough time. Now, I know you have been doing this for a long time. I want you to share. When you shared this story with me last week, I died because this is one of those things that doesn't happen to everyone. And we're going to share with you this really interesting story, which what became the theme of this episode about emptying your cart. Someone came from Morgan. Morgan, go ahead. Tell us what happened, girl.
Okay, so anybody that knows me I love a good deal. Like I can find a sale anywhere, right? But I love the thrift stores, right? So there was this one thrift store that we would always go to every year because right before school would start, they'd have a 99-cent sale for the kids, right?
That was in Colorado?
In Colorado.
Okay.
And so, because I have 4 children, like that was the best thing for me to do to be smart with my money, right? So I'm in this store, and let me tell you, when I go thrifting, I am like focused. I am very, very focused.
What she mean is beast, but okay, go ahead.
Focus. What were you? So basically, what I do is I go in there and I would like have the kids, do their own thing. They'd be looking at toys and whatnot. And I go and I would find a pair of pants or a shirt. And then if I find the shirt, then I would go through the aisle and I would match it to the pants, right? Vice versa. Like I would always match so they could have outfits. So for $2, you have an outfit, right?
Wow.
But girl, let me tell you what, this one year we were in Greeley, Colorado when we were at the thrift store for this one. And I was on a roll. When I say I was a matching fool, it was amazing the stuff I was picking up and putting in my cart.
I mean, for animals, if you have Morgan, got it.
I was so happy. I was so happy. And I'm like smiling, pushing my cart. And I'm like, it's kind of like when you take a tie and you put it up to a shirt
yes.
Across to make sure it's matching. That's what I was doing with the clothes, right? And I'm smiling at this lady over here and she's looking at me and I'm just smiling and over here smiling at these people because I smile.
That's what you do. Okay, we know.
And so the lady just keeps looking at me. I'm like, oh, so then I see her looking. And so I'm like getting excited, she's watching what I'm doing and whatnot. And I have a cart full. I was there for like a good couple of hours, like getting all of this together, right? Wow. Putting in the work. And all of a sudden one of my kids comes and they're like, Maddox is doing something. So I run around the corner like to go and get him and to bring him back with me because my kid's not going to be acting up in the store. So I go around the corner, I leave my cart right there and I go around the corner to get Maddie Patty and I bring him back. And I'm like, where's my stuff? Like my cart's still there and there was a couple things in it, but only a couple things. When I say, Tone, my cart was full, completely full. And I'm looking around and I'm like, wait a second, maybe this isn't my cart. And I'm like looking back and there's still the toys on the bottom. So I know that was my cart. And I look over the lady at the end that was looking at me and smiling and kind of like side-eyeing, like kind of like doing this thing, like looking at my cart, she took my stuff. So then I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And so I'm like getting upset, but no, I was because
Oh,
it
you would
was
be?
a lot of work. It was a lot of work to get all that to match. So I go over to her and I'm talking to her and I was like, excuse me, ma'am. I said, those are my clothes. And she's like, no, they're not. I said, ma'am, I said, I went through and I color coordinated them. I said, even in the basket, it's from lightest to darkest with what I did. I said, are you kidding? I said, ma'am, please. She goes, I didn't take it. So in that moment in time,
Wait, she said she didn't take it, but you could see the clothes, or had she put them somewhere else?
they're in her basket. They're clearly in her basket. So like in that moment in time, I literally had to sit there and think, like, how am I going to handle this? Am I going to act a fool? Am I going to call her out on it over some clothes that are $1, right? Or am I going to choose to walk away? The other factor is, number one, like, my kids are here. I don't want them to see me acting like a fool. Is it worth my reputation and my sanity to call somebody out and make a scene in the store, right? But at the same time, you blatantly wronged me.
Yeah.
You stole from me.
Yeah.
You took things that I put time and effort into.
Yeah.
And now you're going to look me in my eyes and tell me that you didn't do it. So needless to say, I went ahead and I started laughing, like that crazy lady laugh where you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, like that. And I chose
Morganne.
But how do you do that?
Yeah. So I guess it comes down to, and that's, now that you're telling me all the little details, I remember when you were first telling me the story, you kind of glossed over some stuff. And like, I didn't know she denied it when clearly the clothes are right there. And I think, when it comes to our cart, when you're doing, or whatever it is, the results of when we're putting in the work and someone's busy trying to take it from us, it does come into, do I fight for this? Do I fight for this thing? Do I let it go? And I think that is really what we're going to be talking about today, whether that is a relationship, a job, whether it's your next step, what really is meant for you. When we say meant for you, it means what is the thing that's going to serve you best? And so often we have created a cart for ourselves. We've created what we think we're supposed to have. We've matched up things. And then sometimes all of a sudden someone snatches it away from us. And that's not it.
Well, think about it. In midlife, especially, we have so many of those moments, like you brought out. Like we have our careers, our relationships, that we've built our identities around, right?
Yeah.
And so then one day when it's gone, because like our job ends or because our relationship shifts, all of a sudden we're left, or even our health, like because a lot of health changes happen in midlife. So like when that happens,
you're saying the truth right there.
Yeah. Like, what do we do? Like, what do I do with myself now that everything's changed?
Loss feels really familiar. And I think when we think about, the reason why we're here, if this is your first time joining us and getting after, our whole goal here is to help midlife women get over these obstacles. This may seem like a little pebble, like it's not a big deal. Like, okay, well, someone took your car at the thrift store, no big deal. But it's these things that get us to the point where we're ready to like throw down. Like you'd be ready to throw hands because someone has pushed you, or in Morgan's case, that eyebrow. Yeah, I've told y'all before, if that eyebrow go all the way up, be careful. Be very careful. If one is flat and one is up, it's not an emoji, it's Morgan's face. And so you don't want to mess with her when that happens. But it feels unfair. And it comes down to what is for me and what isn't for me. And what can I do with what's left? And is it time to kind of empty these thoughts and feelings that I've had for so long? It's interesting, Morganne, because when we think about the virtual card, now we all have one. I know I'm not the only one. Now, do you have a virtual card out there open?
Like a couple?
Right. You were going to say no. It's like, did I ask the wrong question? Yeah. So, because, we have not talked about on the pod, maybe next couple of weeks, I am planning a wedding. I've got lots of virtual cards. Right. My daughter has lots of virtual cards, right? Because things are coming in. We're planning a wedding. A lot of stuff's going on. And so My daughter just the other day said to me, Mom, I'm going to clear X cart that she said she was going to clear. And I was like, you have the money for it? She goes, yep, I have what I need, but I need to clear this cart because she's planning all the things, honeymoon, all the things. And so I was like, that was cool, especially because she wasn't asking me to clear it for her. So I'm like very, very happy about that. But, it made me think about what happens if you wait too long. And sometimes, like in your case, you weren't waiting. You were just still in the midst of it. And we're putting stuff in our cart. We're putting dreams in. We're putting jobs in. We're putting relationships in. We're getting older. We're doing a thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, have we waited too long to clear the cart? That's what happened. You were there. You remember what happened when a particular platform went dark.
Oh, I know where you're going with it.
So when a particular clock app went dark for a couple of days, it was really a lesson for me in what to do with my cart. Now, the funny thing is I had so many drafts, which is another way that we're storing things that we're not really using. I don't know, 300 drafts on the clock app because I'm a heavy creator and I create and create and create and create, and then I use it when I need it, right? So all I was concerned with in the moment was the creativity. It was the drafts. It was what I had made that I wanted to save. And so I was spending hours and hours deciding, do I need this? Do I not need this? Which is kind of unfortunate because obviously I had spent a lot of time doing that creating. Totally forgot about the cart. Totally forgot about the stuff that I was planning on buying, some for my daughter, some for our household, some gifts. There's even 1 or 2 things that are meant for you, Morgan. I lost them. The system just crashed and poof, everything was gone.
And sometimes we get upset about things that we lose, but the truth is, did we actually even need it or want it in the first place? Have you ever been in that situation?
Don't say I didn't need that bra. I needed that bra. I needed it. I did need it. I'm not going to go there. I needed it. Okay. I am not an affiliate for the HSIA bra, but if you get a minimizer bra, I would suggest you walk over to the clock app. Okay. They've got it for about $23.99 and that thing minimizes. Okay. I needed that. I did need that. But the thing is that it did make me realize that overnight, a lesson that I wasn't planning on learning, stop that because I did need some of those things. They were things I wanted and they were there for a reason. And the next thing I knew, I didn't have them anymore.
Oh my gosh, that is such a good point because sometimes we wait too long and that reminds us that we should have stepped up sooner, right? That you're like, okay, you see somebody else with it and you're like, oh, I could have had that. One of those moments in time.
So the thing is that your cart cannot be left open forever. It can't. It can't. And yet, and still, I know we do it. We know we do it. So, okay, so we're talking, obviously, kind of joking about this, but when we start talking about us as people in your 40s and beyond in midlife, and you start thinking about the things that you're kind of placing in your cart, the things that you've been, putting in your life, and you're like, I'll deal with that later. I can hold on to that. It's okay. And again, a lot of times this does have to do with relationships, Morgan. It does have to do with those friendships. We could be in our 40s and still have haters. I'm going to say it. Mean girls. You can have mean girlfriends. Yeah. You can have people that don't want what's best for you. Or you can have people that really, really love you, but they're very, 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 very needy. And so there are times when part of what you've put in your cart is that I'm always there for you. I'm always there for you. I'm always there for you, to your detriment. So some of the things are emotional and some of the things are tangible.
So then how exactly do you know the difference? When do you decide to fight for something or let it go?
That's the point. The guiding question is if I lose this, is it creating space for something better? If I lose this relationship, I'm like, for you, if you had fought with that woman and got the 99-cent clothes, I like to think of, is this going to benefit me in 5 years? In 5 months? In 5 days, will I remember this? In 5 months, will this make a difference in my life? In 5 years, will I be talking about that corduroy pants that you got from Maddox? I hope you did not get him corduroy pants because then he'd be, shh, he's walking down the hallway. Okay, I hope you didn't do that. But, you know what I'm saying? Asking yourself those questions, would they have even fit your kid? You don't know because you couldn't try them on. Would it be worth potentially look. It was a time ago, but I'm sure there were some cell phone being recorded. Okay, because you took her out with the cart. Is sometimes the question really comes down to, when you're losing something, is it creating space for something else, or is it really going to be a void left? And I think it's really good for our audience to think about that, because in midlife, sometimes we forgot to think about that.
Exactly. So like, am I really holding on to this because it's something I really need? Or is it something I'm holding on to because I'm afraid of what's coming next and the action that it's going to take behind that to accomplish it?
Yeah, this is already making me feel uncomfortable, because I'm like, let me go clear my cart. I think I need to clear. But I got to tell you something. If we flip this perspective, we're talking a little bit about, if we reframe what loss really looks like. And I think this conversation does have a lot to do with loss, and we're going to do some grounding. I know that we haven't grounded yet, and I want you to do that. But I want to share first, a situation that happened with me that I think a lot of women, a lot of people right now are facing, and that has to do with, significant loss when it has nothing to do with you. And where it looks like a punishment, or it feels like you're trying to figure out, is this a punishment or protection for me? And for me, it really happened many, many years ago when I lost a job. And I think I've shared this with you before, where, and those of you who know me, I used to work for this large antivirus company, and I did many jobs for them. One of my most profound jobs was creating training for and executing training and logistics worldwide, also doing all the compliance training, all that sexual harassment, all that kind of training, and getting us within like 95% compliance worldwide. My team, shout out to my old team. Like, we worked really hard. I was very good at what I did. And it's not bragging. I was very good at what I did. I worked hard at it. I worked hard. I was that person in my office with those little babies I had at home, double pumping during a meeting. They're like, what's that noise? I'm like, it's the copier. No, I had a lot of copies I had to make. Hold on, mute them, get the rest of it. Like, I was that girl, okay? Radical about doing all the things, about being a mom, about being a nursing mom, but also taking care of business. And one day I was in a big meeting in Dallas, in Plano, Texas, actually. And it was like a workshop, but it was kind of like a retreat kind of situation. I had done all this planning for it. It was amazing. And during the meeting, it was about 5 minutes before I was going to present for my team. My team is sitting there, and a flow chart, like basically an organization chart, was put up on the screen, and it had my entire team. I had my little team there. My entire team was no longer sitting under my square. So anyone knows anything about an org chart, right? You have your square, and then you have your people underneath your square. And I was there with a title that said TBD, so no title anymore. And then I was a global logistics manager for training and human resources. And then literally my entire team had been moved under another square rectangle that said TBD, as in to be determined or to be hired. The person didn't even work there yet. And in that moment, and I have to present 5 minutes later. Like, I have to present. I was showing my org chart. So my org chart doesn't work anymore. So I had to just get rid of that page. I have to say that I don't want to blame anyone as to why that happened. It felt extremely, it was an extremely raw moment. I couldn't cry. And, I don't believe in crying at work. You don't cry in corporate. But it was gross. And my team is sending me messages like, what is going on? And I just have to keep a straight face, go present 5 minutes later, present, our accomplishments, but knowing that my team was gone. So then right after my next time when I took the break, we took a break right after that, have snacks, whatever. Then my team is rushing over to me like, Chatone, what's going on? And they're crying. I was a great manager, but also they're like, who's our boss now? I'm like, I don't know. What are you going to do now? I don't know. Are you being fired? I don't know. Like, I didn't know. That humiliation that day, it was so many years ago now, but I still feel it. You know what I mean? I still feel it. But I will say that even though I cried for hours, less for myself. I mean, yes, for the humiliation, because it was humiliating, but less for myself and more for the team. Like, what's going to happen to my team?
Right.
I took good care of them. They had, some had some family things, different things, and I always took care of them. And I was like, who are they going to work for? Are they going to take care of them? But in the end, I have to say that I was grieving the loss. I was grieving not knowing what was coming next, but it made space for me. I couldn't have known that day. I think it was on a Tuesday or Thursday. It was on a Thursday. I couldn't have known that day. But a couple days later, I was like, you know what? The job they ended up giving me, they wanted me to spearhead writing for the department. They wanted me to spearhead. They were just getting into like the intranets, the internal internet. They wanted me to do press release. They wanted me to do a lot of writing. I could have done both, but maybe it wasn't my time. And so literally within a couple of weeks, I realized I could do my job about 2-3 hours a day. Before I was working like 12 hours a day. So maybe it was not meant for me to do that. Maybe it was time for me to rest at that time. You can't see it always in the beginning. You can't see it. But I have more time for ministry. I have more time for my kids. I had more time. It's just that it came through pain. Now, fast forward, they did try and give me that job back with a lateral move and no raise. Let's just say I negotiated something different. Okay. So, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't fight. I couldn't fight. Like sometimes, like you could afford her for your clothes, and maybe it's something you did need. In this case, this was my job. It was a part of my identity, and what it did is it taught me that a job can't be your identity.
And think about that too. Like, not everything that we've lost has been taken away from us is supposed to be reclaimed, right? Like, what if walking away from this moment isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign of like really having wisdom to address everything that just happened?
Yeah. So for me, that's kind of what it was. And I will never lie and say, and I've talked about this on Sunday Corner before, I'll never lie and say it didn't hurt. I was humiliated. It hurt me so bad because I was like, what did I do? And the funny thing is, I do have to say that about a year and a half later is when everything went crazy with my health. I don't know if during that little period that I had a chance to rest, because it was about 10 months and then they gave my job back with a really substantial raise. But in that time is when I was able to take care of myself a little bit better. Definitely rest more. I still needed several surgeries thereafter, but you just don't know. Like, you can't look back and say, like, what was this the right thing for me or not? And I think that in midlife, and I know this has happened to you, where you're like trying to make decisions about work, especially, you're trying to make decisions about what jobs to take and what to release, what's going to serve my family, what's going to serve me spiritually. And you have to make these decisions. And sometimes there's some stuff in the cart. You're like, oh, let me take this out. Let me take this out. Let me take this out to make room for other stuff.
Well, and so many times, baby, too, like we hold on to what's familiar, even though it doesn't serve us anymore. I mean, we've mentioned that quite a few times in the last month with our podcast. But like, what if this moment, this empty cart, is a fresh start? I have a couple of clients right now that are experiencing that, and it's sad, but I can already see the shift in them, but it's for the good,
I think, for our audience, I think the question really comes up is like, what do you, when you're shifting, we talked about that last week about change, when you know that change and shifting is needed, how do you get yourself ready for that? And theoretically, you can just say, I'm ready. I'm just going to fight my way through. But by the time you're 40, you're a little tired. Like, you don't have that much energy anymore. And you may not have the community that you need, which is why we're always talking about, working with us through emotional freedom technique. And we are going to get into some tapping, but really thinking about your physical or virtual cart, what's in it. I mean, literally thinking about shopping and what things do you need to be bringing into your home. We're going to be doing an episode on decluttering in the next few weeks. I'm really looking to nab somebody to come talk to us about that. But also just life-wise. I know, Morgan, for you, that when you left Colorado and you had to leave in a hurry, that there's a lot of things you left behind.
That's a good point, because we did, like, we had to leave quicker than a hiccup. And in that moment in time, you really do realize what's important to you and what's valuable and what's not, we get attached to all these things, right? Because it makes us feel comfortable or we enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with having things in moderation, but can you walk away from it? Like, what actually is important? What is serving you? What is benefiting you? And it was it was what we could fit in our car in a 5x8 trailer. We
Right.
went from a huge house, to 5x8 trailer. And in the car only was the 2 dogs, the 2 cats, and the 3 humans,
People,
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 you
yeah.
know. So it
And
gets,
so, Morgan, do you feel that? I mean, I know the answer, but I think people need to hear this,
Mhm.
especially because how big was your house in Colorado? Your original house?
The original was over 4,000 square feet.
Yeah. So a big house, right?
Mhm.
You then, when you were running, you moved to a really small place,
Mhm.
right? Well, shelter to shelter, then small place, and then coming across the country, not having any place. So you didn't want to bring so much. What do you miss? Be honest. It's okay to miss stuff.
My shoes.
Your shoes.
I miss my shoes because they sparkled and they made me so happy. And everybody knows my favorite color is sparkles. I miss my shoes. The tangible pictures, like, because I had to, like, right before I knew I was going to be walking away from everything, I went through the house and I took pictures, like with my
Wow.
phone, all the pictures in the house, because I knew I couldn't take them with us. Because remember the night we walked away with nothing. And
Right.
so to be able to have like a tangible picture means so much to me. So like even a couple of months ago, my sister brought me a picture from Colorado, and it really meant a lot to me.
Oh,
That it was something, well, she sent me pictures, excuse me. She sent me pictures, and it meant a lot to me because I wouldn't have had them otherwise.
right.
So
Right.
yeah.
So, not to toot my own horn, but I know I do give you lots of shoes, so I'll continue to do that. I'll continue to give you my shoes that because I have plantar fasciitis, that they don't work anymore for me.
Mhm.
But that's the thing, like when you're talking about your life, sometimes we walk away from things like, for example, silly things, just talking about shoes. I
Mhm.
love shoes. I mean, what woman doesn't?
Mhm.
Like, we love shoes. But when it became an issue where I'm like, my ankle is not going to heal.
Mm,
I can
right.
continue to try and wear these heels because my husband's super tall and I feel good in them. I am that girl who will go to Target in a sweatshirt, jeans that are like rolled up at the bottom, and stilettos, and go get my bananas and a t-shirt for the kids or whatever. Like, that was me. That
Right.
was me. Jeans and heels everywhere I went because it made me feel a certain way. And
Right.
I had to let it go. Like, I had to let it go. And so I let it go. Letting it go meant putting them in boxes and stacking them in the closet.
Mhm.
And then one day I realized, what a waste. How wasteful. Like, at least recycle, like at least give them away. Because first it was like, well, let's have a sale. And I'm like, who needs them? Because I had nice shoes. It's like, who needs them? And so I donated them. And even now, like probably at least every few months, a woman I don't know will get a hold of the girlfriend that I gave them to because I said, share them with whoever you can share them with. And I'll get a call or I'll get a picture. And she's like, look at the shoes. And I'm
Oh,
like, it's so cool to know that they have like this other life. But if I had held on to them, not only did that person not get joy, I don't get the joy. And
mhm.
quite frankly, them being in the closet didn't bring me joy. It made me sad because I couldn't wear them no more.
And that goes back to blocking other people's blessings. Because, right? Full circle. Huh?
In getting the after, one of the things we do with emotional freedom technique is help you to realize what things are serving you and what things aren't.
Mm.
And today, we're going to do a tapping kind of talking about that. What things can you release? You're going to hear us talk about that a lot throughout 2025 because we are often holding on, holding in, holding back.
Mm.
We need to stop doing it because we're not, as what did you say last week, Maria? You said there's more to the story, right? So it's
Mm.
like, it's not even the end of a chapter. Like, there's more to the story. And while we're gathering stuff or, figuring out how we can hold on to all the old things, we don't know what we might be missing. And so we don't want that to be a thing that holds you back. I forgot to put a link up to our magazine, a new magazine. If you haven't received it yet, I want to make sure that you download our newest magazine because it's going to talk a lot about goals and it's going to talk about what's next. So Morgan, let me put this link up to make sure that people can see this. So get our new e-zine. It came out just a week ago. Bit.ly /G2A spring. And there's so many great articles in there. Morgan's going to share more about how she got through her triggers this past winter. There's a lot of things on this idea of being invisible in midlife and how do you move forward. And again, what thing we're always going to do tapping. And this one is special because I can't help but smile. We did do a live grounding with you. And so you'll be able to go right through there and go out to a private link where you can do that right alongside of us. And we're going to always be trying to put that in there as well. We're already planning our summer edition. So good things are coming. Give us comments and let us know, like, what do you want to see? If it's something we don't know about, we will research it so that we can bring together some great and fun information for you as a woman in midlife. So Morganne, I want to get into some grounding really quickly. Can you give like a 30-second commercial as to why grounding is so important?
Absolutely. So by grounding your body, it helps your nervous system to calm down. So sometimes in life, whether you're driving through the car lane it's to get the kids to school or on your way to work or just, about to jump on a meeting, it helps your stress level might be at a 10 and you need to get it to 2. Right. So this helps you to be able to just shift your nervous system and help you to be able to breathe more deeply and to just relax a little bit in the moment that you're in.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I think now that it's going to be a little bit warmer, if you can ever just take us outside, like when we get to the grounding period, like take your phone, take us outside, take off your shoes and socks and stand outside. Now, if you're you're not a grass girl, I'm not really a grass girl, but I will literally go stand on the concrete. I will go out down my driveway to the ground and stand barefoot. We are made from the earth. And so we need to dispel energies and toxins, and it can happen through grounding. So I just want to make sure everybody knows about that because, we talk about this stuff all the time. Like, did you ground today? Did you breathe? And I'm not talking about that. Clearly, I don't have to ask you to breathe. It's involuntary. Okay. We're talking about intentional breathing.
Yes. And because we talk about it all the time, sometimes we forget that people aren't familiar with this, to this extent. So let's go ahead and let's start, baby.
Do your thing.
So if you have your shoes on, please take off your shoes, put your feet firmly on the ground, just relax in the space that you're in. And we're just going to start with some deep breaths in through our nose. So we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose, and then we'll hold it for a moment. And then now you can exhale slowly through your mouth. And inhale again deeply, filling your lungs with this fresh energy. And as you exhale, release anything that feels heavy. One more time in. And let it go. Now you can either gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel your feet grounded beneath you. Imagine roots extending from the soles of your feet, connecting with the earth, steady, supported, and secure. As you breathe, picture a shopping cart, not a real one, but a symbolic one, holding the things you've gathered in life, dreams, relationships, roles, identities. Some things belong to you and others may not. Now, with each breath, begin to release the ones that no longer serve you, not in fear, not in lack, but in trust. Trust that it's meant for you and it will stay. And if it's time to let it go, something better is going to make its way to you. Breathe in trust and breathe out resistance. Breathe in clarity and breathe out hesitation. With your next breath, feel yourself lighter, freer, and open. Whatever is truly yours you'll never lose. And what you release today makes space for something even better. We're going to take one last deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your heart settle into truth. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and bring your sense of trust and clarity into the rest of your day. And I welcome you to open your eyes and join me whenever you're ready.
Thank you. That was good.
Thank you.
Okay, bringing the card in. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I like that. That's awesome. Now, listen, y'all. You know that soothing. See, made me drool. That voice, you want to be a part of this. Okay, so when you work with Morgan and myself, I mean, again, I said last week, we believe in laughter. Okay, we believe in being silly because life is full of too many serious things. But that right there just gave me an energetic boost. And because people are not walking around and talking about, did you breathe? Breathe in deep, exhale. Because they're not talking about that, you forget to do it. That's what grounding is so good. You're trusting what's good for you, meaning that it could be food, it could be movement, it could be a text. Some people texting you is not good for you. You could ignore. And you could have a strong block ministry if you need to. You have to do what you got to do. All right. And know that if you have to do that, it doesn't mean you don't have to do it without telling someone. Sometimes you have to tell them right now, I need a break. It's okay to do that. I remember when my kids even were small, sometimes I had to be like, Mommy needs 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right? More than once. Mommy needs a year. Okay. So you can't tell them that, but
in that moment in time, what we taught our children is that it's okay to take a second. It's okay to take a second for yourself. Mom needs that too. So then it teaches them later on in life subconsciously that when they're in a moment, they can remove themselves from it and
know that it's okay. No, it's okay. So make sure, first of all, you get our magazine. Thank you for that, Morgan. And I also want to put up our link. If you know that you'd like to work with us individually or join a circle with us, then just go to bit.ly/tap-chat. We are going to get into some tapping right here. Before we do that, I want to say thank you for doing that grounding for us, Morgan, because the thing is that tapping works really well when your mind is clear. But even if your mind isn't clear, you can quickly, through tapping, figure out what you're looking for, what you need, and what you need to release. Okay, Morgan, we're going to go ahead and start some tapping for our audience. Again, if you're driving or something like that, there's a lot of people around, you may not want to do this, but because tapping really does bring you, it can release a lot for you. And sometimes that is an emotional release. It is those emotions, so many times it is the emotions that are keeping you stuck, keeping you held back. And so we're going to be releasing so that we can see about moving forward and claiming what's yours. We've been talking about this figurative cart today, the things that we oftentimes hold on to that maybe we need to release. So we're going to be talking a lot about that just now. And again, we want you to start by thinking about if you know that you're holding on to some things you don't need to be holding on to, things that aren't serving you. Think about how that feels, where you feel that in your body. I'm not going to put you on the spot, Morgan, but think about where that might resonate negatively in your body and give it a scale 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. Like, nope, I'm good with that. I need to substitute for something else. Or, wow, I'm at a 9.5 because I'm holding on to a lot of stuff. It's not serving me. It's time for me to let go and move forward and trust. Think about what that number is. We're going to try and lower that number just a bit. And if by chance you start to feel emotional, even just thinking about it, I start to release energy, a little bit of burping, things like that is normal. You may get tingles, different feelings. Did I leave anything out, Morgan?
I think you're good.
All right. So we're going to always start on the karate chop point on the side of the hand. We're going to start right here, right now on the side of the hand. So even though I've felt stuck, I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though I hesitate to claim what I want, I honor how I feel. Even though I fear making the wrong choice, I am open to a new perspective. Okay. Take a good cleansing breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let's go ahead and go through this round. So we're going to start at the eyebrow point. What if I fail? Side of eye. What if I make the wrong move? Under eye. What if I step forward and everything falls apart? Under nose. It feels safer to wait. Chin. To keep things in my life cart without fully checking it out.
To keep things in my life cart without fully checking it out.
At least if I don't choose, collarbone. At least if I don't choose, I can't mess it up, right?
At least if I don't choose, I can't mess it up, right?
Underarm. But waiting is exhausting.
But waiting is exhausting.
Top of head. I've been holding myself back for so long.
I've been holding myself back for so long.
Eyebrow point. What if it's time to move forward, even if I don't feel ready?
What if it's time to move forward, even if I don't feel ready?
Side of eye. I don't have to be perfect to start.
I don't have to be perfect to start.
Under eye. I don't have to have all the answers.
I don't have to have all the answers.
Under the nose. I release the belief.
I release the belief
that I need permission to move forward.
That I need permission to move forward.
Chin. I release the fear.
I release the fear
of getting it wrong.
Of getting it wrong.
Collarbone. I release the guilt.
I release the guilt
of leaving old things behind.
Of leaving old things behind.
Underarm. I am allowed to grow.
I am allowed to grow.
Evolve. And claim what is meant for me.
And claim what is meant for me.
Top of head. Let's tap gently on the top of the head. My worth is not tied.
My worth is not tied.
To how perfect a woman I am.
To how perfect a woman I am.
Eyebrow point. I am learning that movement.
I am learning that movement
is more important than certainty.
Is more important than certainty.
Side of eye. I give myself permission to take some things out of my cart.
I give myself permission to take some things out of the cart.
Under eye. I don't need approval.
I don't need approval.
To move forward.
To move forward.
I can remove what no longer serves me.
I can remove what no longer serves me.
Under nose. I trust myself.
I trust myself.
To figure things out as I go.
To figure things out as I go.
Chin point. I am worthy of claiming my dreams.
I am worthy of claiming my dreams.
My goals.
My goals.
My next chapter.
My next chapter.
Collarbone. I don't have to wait for everything to be perfect.
I don't have to wait for everything to be perfect.
I just have to begin.
I just have to begin.
Underarm. I choose courage over hesitation.
I choose courage over hesitation.
And top of head. I choose movement over overthinking.
I choose movement over overthinking.
Take a deep breath in. Let it out. I want to end this with a powerful affirmation, but a short one. I am enough.
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 Yeah. How are you feeling, Morgan?
I love you so much. That was amazing. Every time I act like I'm shocked. Why should I be shocked? It's so cleansing.
It's so good.
Oh, thank you.
It's so good. Listen, y'all, hit us up. Go to bit.ly/tab-chat. Also make sure that you get our magazine, the newest magazine that just came out. There's a link there. And know that the work that we do, even though it might seem like, how does this affect me? If you've got obstacles, if you've got things that are residual, like you feel a pain over here and you feel a heaviness in your chest over here when you're doing certain things and it's recurring all the time, that grounding that we do and that tapping that we do will absolutely help alleviate that. And it's something that is self-soothing, which means that you do not have to wait until the next session. Once we teach you and you're working along with us, this is something you can do in between. I'm getting through my days, prayer, meditation, Bible reading, and you golly some tapping.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Listen, clear your cart this week. All right. Clear your cart. Let us know what resonated for you the most. And we will see you next time. But until we do, you know what? My name is Chatone Morrison. I am the Princess of Positivity. And I believe that you can release your negativity so your positive can reign in your brain, in your business, your big, beautiful life. And I want you to go forth and have an amazing week.
Love you guys.
Bye.